Your new World Heavyweight Champion, Randy Orton. That's right, at 24 years old, Orton became the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in the history of the WWE when he defeated Chris Benoit that Sunday at SummerSlam. Benoit had held on to the title since making Triple H tap at WrestleMania, so I'm sure Trips is super excited that his protege did something that he couldn't. Orton comes out to the Evolution song, complete with gold confetti and balloons. Orton asks all of the 24-year-old men out there to stand up. He tells us these are your average 24-year-old men, and they're nothing compared to him. Then he tells the 24-year-old men to take their shirts off, and they do. Orton calls them fat. Predictably, he gets a "you suck" chant, and then Benoit interrupts the celebration and says Orton's first title defense will be against him. Orton isn't worried. Give it a few weeks for them both to heal up after SummerSlam, and he'll beat Benoit again. Ah, but you misunderstand, Orton. Benoit just came back from General Manager Bischoff's office, and he wants his title shot now. This is actually a pretty fiery promo from Benoit, something I don't usually associate with him. So 24 hours after SummerSlam, it looks like we've got a rematch. Randy Orton versus Chris Benoit for the World Heavyweight Championship tonight. This was a funny promo, and kind of gutsy on Orton's part. If he hadn't gotten the audience participation that he wanted, then he would have just made a huge ass of himself. Rhino comes out with Tajiri, but this is a singles match. If Rhino wins, then he and Tajiri get a shot at the tag titles. So here comes the tag champs, La Resistance. Cool name, but I always thought they were a pretty boring tag team. And Tajiri and Rhino are one of those random teams where Vince McMahon just seems to draw two names out of a hat and throw them into the tag title picture. It also just seems obvious that Rhino is going to win to set up a title match. All this to say, I'm not exactly on the edge of my seat for this one. Rhino gets dumped outside into an ocean of confetti. Robert Conway takes out Tajiri just for the lulz. They're in Canada, and King spends most of the match roasting Canada's performance in the recent Summer Olympics. Right, I looked up the medal count for the 2004 Summer Olympics, and sure enough, Canada placed 21st. So yeah, fair enough. Grenier with a weird face lock. I'm not really sure what he's doing. I like the slam at the end though. Weird face lock again. Ew, he keeps sticking his fingers in Rhino's mouth. Stop doing that. This match has been heavy on rest holds. There is so much confetti in the ring. Why didn't they at least sweep it out of the ring? Robert on the apron and pays for it, but Grenier capitalizes on the distraction. As the ref scolds Robert Conway, Tajiri rises from the dead and hits Grenier with the mist. Then Rhino hits the gore for the win. The crowd loves the mist. It was the first time all match they got to their feet. At the top of this segment, I said I thought La Resistance were boring. And I was proven right. We get a ridiculous wedding invitation narrated by Kane. He defeated Matt Hardy in a Till Death Do Us Part match at SummerSlam. What's a Till Death Do Us Part match? Well, it's the kind of match where the winner gets to marry Lita. So Kane invites us to the wedding on the next episode of Raw. Note to self, someday I need to review the next episode of Raw. Wow, King is really excited about the wedding. We get one of the greatest non-puppy related King rants I've ever heard.
You're kidding me. Okay, it's enough.
JR tells us that Eric Bischoff has gifted Kane his first wedding present. Kane gets a shot at Edge's Intercontinental title tonight. Then they talk about the Till Death Do Us Part match some more. They show us over a dozen still pictures of the match as King and JR narrate. What's the purpose of this? Are they just trying to make people who didn't order SummerSlam feel bad? Coach tries to interview Lita, who just wants to be left alone, but that evil Trish and the other evil divas are throwing her the world's saddest bridal shower. Man, Trish is so good as a heel. I'm a huge Trish fan and love to cheer for her, but I forgot just how good at being obnoxious she is. Okay, let's open some presents. Did I mention that Lita is, carrying Kane's baby, and it was not exactly consensual? Yeah, so presents. Molly gives Lita birth control pills and condoms, and yeah, it's pretty dark. They give her a few more lighthearted gifts, including a big red machine for when Kane is out of town. Lita excuses herself. Trish gives her the, hey, we worked really hard on this and you forgot your condoms. She's such a mean girl. Victoria walks by and slaps the taste out of Trish's mouth. Damn. Alright, between King's funny rant and Trish's delightful bitchiness, I actually thought this was an entertaining segment, but I just really hate this Kane and Lita thing, and I'll just leave it at that. Why? They really did Victoria dirty here. Right before she comes out, they play Shawn Michaels music, but it turns out it's just announcing his return from injury at the next pay-per-view. So at the end of the video, when they show, oh, actually, Shawn Michaels isn't coming back for another month, the fans start booing. And then here comes Victoria. She's a baby face. That is awful. Ugh. Here's Gail Kim. Gail sent flying across the ring. A couple of vicious stomps and Victoria out of the ring. Yeah, I just realized they cleared most of the confetti. Oh, maybe that's why we got that weirdly long recap of the Till Death Do Us Part match. They were just buying time. Nice submission by Gail Kim. Victoria escapes, but is quickly brought down. A somewhat ugly crossbody puts Victoria back in charge. Victoria hits the Widow's Peak, and that'll do it. But here's Trish, looking for a little revenge after the slap to end all slaps earlier. And she brought her problem solver, Tyson Tomko, for backup. So I associate Tomko with Christian, but apparently Christian was out with an injury, so Tomko went to Christian's kayfabe girlfriend, Trish Stratus. The problem solver is about to permanently solve Trish's Victoria problem when she's saved by a masked woman. Trish abandons Tomko to die, and they make a big deal about speculating who the mystery woman is. Fine, I'll look it up. It was Stevie Richards. Controversial opinion alert. This is my favorite Kane entrance music. The first one that had lyrics. Kane takes a mic and there's still confetti falling. He dedicates this match to his bride-to-be Lita. Kane firmly in control in the early going until Edge hits a chop block to slow the big man down. Edge continues to focus on the leg until he can bring Kane to the mat. King hopes Lita and Kane make a Paris Hilton video on their honeymoon. Kane shoves Edge off the turnbuckle and here comes the bride-to-be, but she just kind of stands around. Missile dropkick, but Kane kicks out. They meet up in no man's land and Kane shoves Edge into the ref. Kane hits the flying clothesline and signals for the chokeslam. But it's Matt Hardy and a twist of fate getting a little payback for his loss at SummerSlam. Kind of weird that Matt just leaves without saying anything to Lita. You'd think they'd hug or kiss or something. One spear later and Edge gets the 3 count to retain the Intercontinental title. Hey, did you know that Kane and Lita are getting married live on Raw next week? Kane feels the need to remind us one more time. Then he says something about consummating the marriage, to which he earns a slap in the face. But hey, Kane says he likes it that way, and it's gonna be a hell of a honeymoon. He's a politician now. Kane has been saddled with a lot of bad storylines over the years that just leave you feeling kind of gross afterwards. But the match for the Intercontinental title wasn't bad. Don't think that Kane and Lita storyline is trashy enough, TV? Well, here's the 2004 Diva Search. The Diva Search works like this. Every week there's some kind of competition or some kind of segment, and then fans vote one of the ladies off. Last one standing at the end of all of it gets a contract with WWE. But this week, they ask each woman if you had to eliminate someone else, who would it be? Alright, I'll admit that's pretty juicy. Let's see what they say. Michelle says Carmella and claims Carmella doesn't really care, constantly complains, and doesn't even like wrestling. Christy says Carmella. Okay. Maria says Carmella. Ouch. And one by one, all of them say Carmella, without exception. Except Carmella. No, she names Joy Giovanni because she has a family and therefore wouldn't have the time. This is all pretty damning for Carmella, but none of it really matters at all because Carmella ended up making it to the finals that year, only to lose to Christy Hemme. After that, they announce who has been voted off by the fans. It's Michelle McCool, who was the hero of Diva Dodgeball, the event that took place at SummerSlam. She eliminated almost the entire team of current WWE wrestlers by herself. But no one cares, you're out of here. It's Y2J versus Batista, and damn, Batista's jacked. We get a video showing last week on Raw, where Batista beat down Edge, and Edge's buddy Jericho just kind of walked off rather than opting to make the save. I wonder if that'll bite Jericho in the ass tonight. Jericho tries to go to the legs, but it doesn't work out too well. Y2J chant that Ric Flair puts a stop to. Jericho proves too elusive as he evades a slam and goes on the attack. He wants the walls of Jericho, but Batista's too strong. Y2J takes out Flair on the apron and Batista in the ring. He's on a roll. Lion Salt attempt and, blatant attack from Flair. Jericho wins by DQ. They're beating down Jericho when Edge makes his way to the ring to make the save. Just kidding, he just kind of stands there, looks at Jericho, then walks off. So the beatdown continues. Batista bomb, which they just call a sit-down power bomb, and Edge looks happy with himself for getting some payback. This was a well-done match. Yeah, we got an unnecessary DQ finish, but at least it was pretty lengthy before that. Batista looked powerful, Jericho looked quick and cunning, and the Edge thing is interesting. Oh goody, more Diva Search. So before I told you that the little segments and competitions that they do don't really seem to have any effect on the voting, now's the segment that really affects the fan voting. The women dance around for a while as Coach explains how to vote. Hey, did you know Kane and Lita are getting married next week on Raw? Orton looking nervous about his match against Benoit later tonight. Triple H gives him a nice pep talk and says, "Evolution is your solution." When Orton wins, Triple H promises they'll celebrate like only Evolution can. It's main event time. Benoit goes on the attack with the chops. Some guy has a Triple H is my mom sign. What? Orton thumb to the eye, but a European uppercut countered into a pin attempt. Very cool. And this one has been all Benoit. JR is right when he says Randy Orton has spent more time on the canvas than Rembrandt. That's a classy joke, JR. Benoit smashes Orton's knee on the steps and we go to commercial break. Return from the commercial break and Benoit has Orton in the sharpshooter as Orton lovingly eyes the ropes. He finds the ropes and kicks Benoit off the apron into the barricade. And JR is right when he says this was the first pure offensive move we've seen of the night from the world champion. This is kind of a fun hold, but they spend a really long time on it. Benoit fights out, flying headbutt, and 3 Germans into a crossface. Love that transition. Orton teases the ropes, but Benoit flips him over, and they're in the center of the ring, crossface still locked. Fans on their feet. Benoit releases the hold when Evolution shows up. He punches them all one by one, but turns right around into boom, an RKO. Orton wins. I can't say this was a bad match. They gave it 17 minutes, and there were some great moves. But that Orton dropkick, the first real offense from the champion on this night, that came past the 8-minute mark. We got over 8 minutes, nearly half the match, just watching the World Heavyweight Champion get his ass kicked. Why did he have to give so much to Benoit in this match? Alright, here we go. Batista begins the celebration by slamming Benoit into the steps. Triple H holds Orton's arm up in victory and then hugs all around. Batista puts Orton up on his shoulders and Orton shows off the title. Everything seems great. Triple H gives the thumbs up and then things take a turn. Triple H turns that thumb upside down and Batista slams Orton to the mat as some fans cheer and some boo. They take turns beating Orton down and Triple H reminds Orton that that title belongs to him. While Orton was winning the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam, Triple H was fighting Eugene. No wonder Trips is so bitter. Triple H whacks Orton with the belt and busts him open. Yet the beatdown continues. He tells Orton he's nothing without Evolution. Batista sit-down powerbomb, pedigree, and why isn't anyone stopping this? And we sign off. I suppose you could argue it's weird that Evolution helped Orton win the match, only to beat him down afterwards. But I think Triple H is just trying to prove that Orton needs Evolution. I love this segment. The thumbs down is an iconic moment that Batista calls back when he turns on Triple H in 2005, and every time he does a Batista bomb. It's no secret that Orton's babyface turn was completely botched, making all of this a brief footnote in the Triple H reign of terror. But this moment is great, and it's extremely in character for Triple H. There's something about so much content being just good enough to get by that makes me feel kind of, I liked the opening promo for Orton, but I'm not sure it was wise doing such a heel promo insulting the fans on the night you're supposed to turn babyface. The Kane storyline is both really dark and really stupid, which is not a great combination. And Benoit beating Orton down for so long just made the world champion look like a jackass. So I give the August 16th, 2004 edition of Raw a rating of... Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, please consider liking and subscribing so I can make more content. I've already reviewed other episodes of Raw and SmackDown, including the first ever episode of SmackDown. Next time, I'm thinking September 24th, 2007 episode of Raw. It's, am I reading this right? Triple H versus Carlito and Vince McMahon in a handicap steel cage match. See you then.